Which emulator is better for playing Red Dead Redemption, RPCS3 or Xenia? Well, first I'm gonna answer this question by showing you guys the comparison between the emulators and pointing out the more important stuff. Then I'm gonna teach you how to set up the better emulator for playing this game with the best performance. So first off, we have to consider that RPCS3 is more CPU dependent than Xenia, as Xenia is more GPU dependent than RPCS3. This means that for high demanding games like Red Dead Redemption, RPCS3 uses less GPU power as always. On the other hand, it needs a very powerful CPU, as opposed to Xenia, which takes advantage of the GPU and uses less CPU power. Therefore, you get better results with Xenia if you have a good enough GPU. This was a very simple explanation of why Xenia works better, but obviously this is way more complicated than that. As you can see in the comparison, the frame rate in Xenia is about 10 frames more than RPCS3, which is a huge difference considering that you can even use patches for Xenia in order to improve performance. Talking about patches, so first of all, Xenia Master Build doesn't support patches. You need to install Xenia Canary in order to apply the patches. First of all, I'll explain some of the patches and then you can decide whether if you want to use them or not. There are patches that I recommend all of you to install. Doesn't matter how powerful your system is, it's better to use them. They don't have a negative effect on the graphics. These patches are listed on the bottom left corner, and the right screen shows the game running with no tree patch and other same patches that the left screen is running with. As you can see, this single patch, no trees, makes a huge difference in frame rate. The patch is pretty much self-explanatory. It removes trees. The game might get a little bit uglier, but it will give you at least about a 10 frame boost. Also, the game runs at the default 720p resolution, and you can double the resolution scale to get 1440p, although it will take a lot of your GPU's power, and it will lower your frame rate about 10 frames. So the best workaround for this frame drop is to enable no trees and skip grass patches in order to experience the same frame rate as playing the game in the native resolution with normal patches. I personally don't recommend the resolution scaling unless you have a hell of a system. Instead, you can tweak the post-processing options by pressing the F6 key on your keyboard. It'll make your game look way better. So now let's set up the emulator. First, you want to head on over to this page and download the latest build of Xenia Canary. Extract the zip file and open Xenia once and close it. Now go to Documents folder, Xenia, and open the xenia-canary.config.tml. Search for vsync and turn it off. If you want to upscale the game's resolution, search for draw underline res and change the number for both x and y axis to 2. Remember that this upscaling works it only if you have a very powerful GPU. After you're finished, save the file. Now go to the patches folder and find Red Dead Redemption. There are 4 files corresponding to your own version of the game. Mine is Red Dead Redemption Gaudi Disk 1.patch. So when you open the patch file, you see a bunch of things, but what you need to focus on is that if you want to enable a patch, just head over to is enabled option, which is set to false, and change the false to true. So if you have a high-end PC, enable 16 times anisotropic filtering, disable sound flare, higher quality post-processing, skip intro, and for medium and low-end systems, I'll explain some options that are very useful for gaining a significant performance boost. For low-end systems, there are 360, 480, and 540 mode patches. I personally do not like to use them, although I have a medium-end system, but if you have a low-end system, make sure you use one of them. Lower the number, better the performance. Now for the famous no tree patch, it mostly depends on you if you want to enable it. I personally don't mind it, and I don't think it makes the game that bad, but there are others that do not think the same. What I just said also applies to the no grass patch. So basically, if you are really striving to get better performance, enabling these patches is a great option. There are two patches that are for people who have a bad CPU. They can enable the use separate audio heap and alternative script timing and asset garbage collection patches. There are also 3 patches that act as cheats. You are free to enable them as well. So after you're done, save the file. That's it. We just need to tweak post-processing settings and then we are done. Open Xenia, click on File, open your game's ISO or default.xex file, and then wait for the game to load in. When the first cutscene comes up, press F6 and enable Nvidia FXAA normal and AMD Fidelity FX super resolution and set both sliders to the maximum numbers. Then close the window. That's it. Now you're good to go. You can finally play this game on your PC. That was it, guys. Thank you for watching this video. If you like my content, please like this video and do not forget to subscribe.